Welcome to Nifty 50 Photographers. Today's video I'm going to talk about the Sony 24 to 240mm zoom and do a little comparison against its nearest rival, which is the Tamron 28 to 200. I'm not a big fan of super zooms because although they do everything quite well, they don't do anything brilliantly, so often it's better to choose a different lens. But for holidays and travel, you don't want to pack too much, so if you can get away with just carrying one lens, which one would you take? And that's what I'm going to answer in this video. That's why I chose this lens. But I've actually also used it professionally, and I've been very pleased with the result. Let's have a look at the two and think about which one you would choose. If we compare the specifications, let's have a look firstly at focal length. Sony offers 24 to 240mm. The Tamron 28 to 200. Sony's giving you a much wider focal length range, so that's a plus point for Sony. Let's look at some of the other features though. Now, if we look at the next thing that people tend to compare lenses by is aperture and how well they perform in low light. Sony gives you a widest f-stop of f3.5. The Tamron 2.8, so definite winner for the Tamron. When you get to the other end of the zoom scale, your Sony lens is f6.3, the Tamron at f5.6. Again, it looks as though the Tamron is a winner there, so if low light performance is critical to you, then the Tamron would make an obvious better choice. Now, one other big factor when you're thinking about travel lenses, you don't carry anything too heavy, and the Sony weighs 780 grams. For those of you in imperial units, that's nearly 28 ounces. Compared to the Tamron at 575 grams, that's only 20 ounces. So again, the Tamron is a clear winner in terms of weight. Size wise, they're both quite similar. In fact, they're within a millimeter of each other for length. So they're both around the 4 3/4 inches. Tamron is a tiny bit shorter at 4.6 inches. Diameter wise, the Sony is a little bit bigger. It's 3 1/4 inches or 80 millimeters, with the Tamron just being 74 millimeters, and that's just under 3 inches. But the other crucial factor when you're buying anything is always the price and which lens you'd go for. Now, I looked at lots of reviews, as you're probably looking at this for the same reason. You want to compare the two and think, oh, which one am I going to buy, and am I going to make the wrong decision? In reality, I don't think you'll be disappointed with either lens, but it's really down to a bit of your shooting style and how much you want to pay. Now, this decision will be massively influenced by what part of the world you're in as well, because in the UK, the Sony lens is £719. The Tamron lens is £799. So do you want to pay that extra for that low light performance, or would you rather have the longer focal length? There's one other important issue here as well. Sony has built-in optical stabilization, which the Tamron doesn't. Now, if you were in the US, however, the Sony lens, and I checked this price at B&H, will cost you over $1,000. I think it's $1,048, whereas the Tamron, $719. So a clear bargain. So if I sat in the US, I'd definitely be buying the Tamron lens. At $300 saving would be well worth all the disadvantages I'm getting of the Tamron, which frankly aren't much. It's only really the optical stabilization you're missing out on, and a bit of extra focal length. But in Europe, it becomes a different story, because if you time your purchase right, Sony often do a cashback offer. And when I bought mine, there was £100 cashback off it, taking it down to £619 compared to £799 for the Tamron equivalent. That's almost a £200 saving, and that was well worth the little bit of extra weight that the Sony has and a little bit of compromise on its low light performance. In reality, I also looked at my photographic style. Now, for a travel lens, I don't really take many portrait shots, so I'm not too interested in having that really wide aperture that would give you that very shallow depth of field. And so I was quite happy to compromise on the fact that it goes to f3.5 instead of f2.8. So what I'm really doing is, mainly in travel, is landscapes, maybe a few street scenes and so on, but it's mainly scenery that I'm photographing. If I wanted to shoot a few portraits, it's very easy to pack a little prime lens to go with me, you know, a 50mm, 35mm, doesn't take up much space. Carrying those two lenses would then give me a really good option. So that's what I'd recommend if you were looking at one of these super zooms. Think about taking with you one little prime lens, and then you can cover every eventuality. Now, I did say I've used this lens for professional photos as well. And I'm going to show you now some examples of what I've taken. I've had this lens for about a year now, and I've taken close on 2,000 photos with it. And actually, I'm really pleased with the Sony lens. And here's some of the best photos I've taken with it. I hope you enjoyed this video and that me sharing with you my thought process has helped you to make the right decision. I think in summary it comes down to where you're located, because that's going to govern the kind of deal you get and how much you need to spend. And then also your photographic style, what you're going to use the lens for. And if you're going to use it for travel, think about my option of taking a little prime lens with you as well, because that'll help you get those great street portrait photos that you might be looking for. If you found these tips and tricks useful, please do like the video. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more stuff like this. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.